Welcome to Massive Late Fee. And now your hosts, Mark and Carol.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Massive Late Fee. My name is Mark. With me as always is my fiance Carol. How you doing today, Carol?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. It's been a good week here. It is April 5th, 1998. I could see during the opening you were bopping along, but with half-mast eyes.
Oh, come on. They weren't half-mast. They were fully closed.
Carol's a little tired right now.
No, he woke me up to record. So, yes, I am tired.
We went to a late movie. We got back a little late. Sorry. There's been drinking. You know how it gets. You know how it gets everybody. But we watched, I have no news. And in the interest of Carol's sanity.
And bedtime.
I'm not going to get into the news. This is enough about... Sorry to talk about politics, everybody, but this
episode will be politics.
This movie is what? Did you start to say politics and have a stroke midway through?
Apparently.
This movie is...
This movie is about politics.
This is going to be the audio equivalent of automatic writing. You're going to be asleep and just giving your explanations of the movie. But we saw Primary Colors. Heard of it?
I don't know what is wrong with you.
What?
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 Primary Colors.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Based on the 1996 book by Anonymous.
By Anonymous?
Yes, Anonymous.
So this is an anonymous book?
So this book...
It's supposed to be true?
Okay, so this book that it's based off of is a Roman Aleph.
What the fuck is that?
Okay, there we go. Thanks for playing. A Roman Aleph is a book of fiction, a work of fiction based on real life events. So the people are based on real life people.
Right.
John Travolta stars, I guess, in this movie as Jack Stanton. Jackie, who is very obviously Bill Clinton. And we get John Travolta doing his very best Bill Clinton impression. He's got the raspiness down, but you know, he doesn't have quite the "I'll feel your pain." No.
He does do a pretty good impersonation, but
let me tell you, you're walking all over my impersonation.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean,
let me tell you.
What?
You said he does do a pretty good impersonation, but let me tell you,
he can't hold a candle to Bill Clinton. I mean, he's just not as attractive and not as charismatic. He's a very charismatic character. He did a good job, but it's not the same.
Interesting. Sounds like you may have fallen under a Bill Clinton spell, too, if you worked with him.
Maybe.
Not as attractive as Bill Clinton.
He's all washed out looking in this movie.
Fuck? Jesus.
He's like pale, and he's got the gray hair, and he's put on some weight, which I feel like he did for the movie, because I don't think he usually is that heavy. Like, I don't think he was that heavy the last time I saw him, and why are you looking at me like that?
I'm so sorry, Mr. Travolta.
Because I'm sure he's going to listen to the tape.
I didn't know that this tape was going to be a fucking execution of you. Jeez.
I mean, we just saw him in Grease, and now we're watching him in this. It's weird.
I know it is weird, right?
It's jarring.
Because he had the black hair, the thin, svelte figure. Yeah, now he's jogging and eating Burger King.
But he's supposed to be like Bill Clinton, and I don't look at Bill Clinton that way. Do you think he's that way?
What way?
Like
fat,
old, and
oh my God! No, he's got the gray hair, but he has a youthful appearance. I think Bill Clinton's younger than John Travolta, or similar aged, and just, I don't know, has aged better.
Carries it better, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But so here's the thing. This movie is more about... So, Travolta stars in the movie, and everything that... The entire plot centers around him and his character. Just like a political campaign centers around the candidates.
Right.
But the movie is more about the people around him.
Sure.
Than it is about him itself. What is somewhat distracting about both the book Primary Colors and this movie. Interesting time for it to come out, by the way, with this whole thing with Monica Lewinsky,
right?
Which we mentioned once, but have not been talking about, even though the media can't fucking get enough of it. We don't like to play that game. But anyway, so the distracting thing about a Roman Aklef story is that while you're wrapped up in the drama, you're always trying to guess and figure out who's this,
and what's real and what's not.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the thing. But I mean, more about like who's supposed to be who.
I kind of thought it was super obvious who's supposed to be who.
It's obvious in some cases, and it's less obvious in other cases.
Right.
Because sometimes there is a 1-to-1 comparison, and sometimes there isn't. Sometimes a character is an amalgamation of a few characters.
All right.
Like, for instance, Ozio, the guy that they were talking about at the beginning of the movie, of Ozio's Might Run, and fucking Ozio, the King of New York, and all this shit and everything, right, is very obviously Mario Cuomo, governor of New York. And then his son, Ozio's kid, is obviously Andrew Cuomo. So those are easy 1-to-1 comparisons. Our main character, the black character, Mr. Burton,
right,
is basically George Stephanopoulos, who is not black, but so there are differences in their backstories,
right?
But he was the young idealist or whatever, So that there are 1-to-1 comparisons like that. I mean, obviously Emma Thompson, who's great in this.
She is very good, and her American accent's amazing.
Is Hillary Clinton. But then there are other ones like Kathy Bates' character, Libby, who is an amalgamation of probably Vince Foster and a couple other, female advisors to the Clintons who, grew up with them, went to college with them and everything. That's like, there's not a 1-to-1 comparison. Larry Hagman's character, Picker, is, governor of Florida, or former governor of Florida, is obviously an amalgamation of basically everyone Clinton ran against in 92. So Ross Perot's in there, Bob Kerry's in there, Governor Jerry Brown of California. As far as I know, none of them did the things that he was portrayed as doing.
Right.
But they all had flaws, and for some reason, all of them lost. And they're kind of he's an amalgamation of all of them. Paul, the guy that has the heart attacks, obviously, Paul Tsongas. There are ones that are obvious, and there are other ones that you have to kind of figure out. But it's distracting to try to figure out, who's this, and like what, because you have to try to figure out what their personality is and everything.
See, I guess it would be distracting if I knew as much about politics as you do. But, like, for me, I'm just like, okay, so there's Bill, there's Hillary, got it.
Right.
Moving on.
And that's the advantage of someone watching a Roman Aklef that doesn't really know a ton about the backstory of the real-life event that it's depicting, or the real-life people that it's depicting. You can then just kind of relax and enjoy the story. And in my opinion, although we might disagree on this, but in my opinion, I thought this was a fascinating story.
I mean, it was a fascinating story to a degree. It just took way too long to tell it. It shouldn't have been a 2.5-hour long movie because it couldn't hold my interest that entire time.
And see, that's where I disagree. I thought the movie was riveting from beginning to end. And so one thing that Travolta does very well, I think, in his Bill Clinton impersonation And it kind of points out what makes Bill Clinton special as a politician. Love him or hate him, whatever. But the beginning of the movie is he goes to an adult reading thing.
Program.
Adult reading program for people who are adults that never learned how to read. And this guy tells a story about not being passed along in school and being embarrassed on certificate day and everything. And what, you don't remember this?
No, I just saw on certificate. It was graduation day, but he got a certificate of attendance instead of a high school diploma.
Right.
But it was not certificate day. It was graduation day.
Okay. Anyway, so he tells this riveting story about this very personal, embarrassing, terrible situation that happened to him. And the entire time, instead of talking, instead of adding things, instead of making the situation about him, and this is exactly the way Bill Clinton would do it too, Travolta just sits there and listens incredibly intently to this story. As Mike Nichols directed this movie, great director, as he directed The Graduate, as the camera kind of moves in and it really focuses all the attention. And a lot of times we're not even seeing the guy who's talking, we're seeing the listening. And it really pulls you in to the story and to this guy. But I've heard people who have met Bill Clinton talk about how Bill Clinton will listen to you in a way where it feels like there is no one else in the room but you and him. Just intently focused on an individual. And that people like to feel heard.
Right.
And that's, it's a powerful thing. So Clinton in 92 in real life won in large part because he went all over and met people. He mixed amongst the humanity. That was his gift. His gift is face to face, charming people on individual or group bases like that. He was never like Kennedy would go on and to deliver this eloquent speech and everything. And Bill Clinton is a great speaker and does well in that medium, but Lincoln could do that, right? At the highest level, better than anyone else. Clinton, I think, better than anyone else, can be in a group of people and charm everyone. Everyone ends up loving him and wanting to go to war for him, basically. And Travolta does an excellent job of capturing all of that. And capturing the sincerity of Clinton. And then the movie does a pretty good job capturing all his faults.
Right.
Of which there are obviously many.
Right. I don't... Okay. When Clinton was governor running for president, was he accused of sleeping with somebody? Because
Jennifer Flowers.
Okay. So...
The hairdresser is supposed to be Jennifer Flowers.
And the other girl is just made up.
As far as I know, I'm not the biggest expert on all of the sexual peccadillos of Bill Clinton and all the indiscretions he's had. But as far as I know, he's never been accused of having sex with a 17-year-old girl.
Okay.
Which is what happens in this movie.
Well, accused of having sex with her and fathering her child.
Right. Which, like I said, as far as I know, that never happened. Is that something that he was accused of and got covered up by the campaign? I don't know. And that's the other thing with the Roman Aklef story. What's true, what's not.
Right.
A lot of stuff is true. A lot of stuff isn't. Did James Carville whip his dick out for Dee Dee Myers, or that I assume that's who that's supposed to be, that staffer who that's supposed to be. I doubt it. I mean, it doesn't seem like a very James Carville thing to do, but I don't know. Now I don't know. That's the other problem with Roman Aklef stories. Now I don't know if James Carville's the kind of guy that would do that or not.
I don't know. That was so weird. Like, the fact they had him do that towards the beginning of the movie, and then he's still a character throughout. Like, I assumed that's going to be the end of him.
Well, he did that in the beginning of the movie, and then nothing like that ever happens again.
Yeah. And he's supposed to be, like, a respected individual, and it's like, I lost all respect for him in the beginning.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Billy Bob Thornton plays that character and does most everyone in this movie is very good.
Yes, it's an excellently acted movie. Everybody does a great job. It's just too damn long.
You know, I disagree. I see this movie meant something to me because this movie's about ideas. And maybe that's why it ran a little long for you, because it's a very talky movie. It almost reminded me, although not quite the same way, but it almost reminded me of My Dinner with Andre, which is essentially it's Wallace Shawn and Andre. I can't remember his last name, but essentially it's those two just having a conversation over dinner. Mm-hmm. That's the entire movie.
Wow.
But they talk about politics. They talk about life. They talk about everything, right? And it's very intense, just a conversation between these two individuals. This movie has more going on, obviously more locations, more characters. There's more going on, but it's all one big conversation about America, about people, about about politics, and about us as individuals.
I guess because I was just thinking about, like, in the beginning, our main character had a girlfriend, and then she shows up halfway through for a minute,
right?
And nothing really comes of that.
Sure.
But I guess if you look at it as just a conversation about stuff going on, then whatever. She makes sense. But to me, I was just like, why? Why are we wasting time on this?
Speaking of a conversation about stuff going on, I didn't understand any of what you just said.
What the fuck?
What do you mean? She doesn't make sense unless it's a what are you talking about?
Fuck you.
I think Carol's had a few too Nicoladas tonight. What is going on?
What was the purpose of her?
Well, so she's probably, and I don't know, she's probably an amalgamation of a few characters, or she could be a one-to-one, but I don't know. But I think she is pissed because she doesn't think that her boyfriend, she's mad that her boyfriend's going to work for this campaign because she doesn't like him. Mm-hmm. And she digs up some dirt. And that's the first time we realize that there's dirt against this guy. So I think that's the point of her character, is to establish that, I guess.
Right. But nothing happened with their relationship, so...
No, I mean, they didn't get back together. There wasn't a lot there.
Yeah, I'm just saying, to me, it's like that was time wasted. And, like, then he's with, the other, like, female on the team.
The one from, what the fuck's it called?
ER.
News Radio.
ER.
I don't know. Is she on ER? I don't know.
Yes.
But she was on News Radio.
Okay. But, like, they're sleeping together just, like, all of a sudden. And there was no build-up. There was no, anything. It's like, what? Why are we bothering with these relationships that we're not doing anything with?
I kind of liked that, actually. That they're casually just in bed together and everything. They wake up together. It informs us that there is a world and a life going on around that we don't know about. There are things happening off screen that matter, but this story is not about that. So we just see the aftermath of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it. So I disagree with you there too.
Congratulations.
Uh-huh. But one thing that's impressive to me is that Kathy Bates comes into this movie, and every scene she's in like the way Kathy Bates can come into a movie and completely take it over.
Yeah.
And it's just, now it's her movie. And everything is about her. Like, it's insane. I feel like I've said this about her before. I feel like we did another movie where she was in, and I said this exact thing before. We've done so many tapes.
Right. Yeah, they all kind of blend together.
Let me know if that happened. But she's just phenomenal. And, yeah, she does. She comes in, she plays crazy idealistic perfectly, and just dominates the screen.
She does. She's the most entertaining character, I think, in the movie. She kind of brings all the chaos to the screen.
Yeah.
She threatens to shoot a guy's dick off, so, there's that.
Yeah.
Then she does use the gun eventually at herself. That doesn't happen to what?
That was just really blasé. And she uses the gun on herself. Fuck her. I'm tired. It's good she's dead.
No, I was going to say, though, there wasn't anyone who committed suicide.
Vince Foster.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which is why I think that that's who she's, kind of.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think she's a little partially based on Vince Foster, too.
So this was heavily based in reality. That makes me upset for Bill Clinton. That he's such an asshole.
Well, who knows? What do you mean such an asshole?
Well, this guy's an asshole. I mean...
Is he?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he can't keep his dick in his pants.
Okay, so that's Bill Clinton.
Disrespectful to his wife in that way.
That's Bill Clinton.
And he acts like he cares about people, but he's actually using them.
That I did not get. That I didn't get from the movie at all.
What about Willie? The father of this girl that he slept with. Mm-hmm. He acts like, oh, I'm your friend, and I'm gonna be there for you for this, and and then he fucking has somebody else take the blood test and denies the whole thing.
Sure.
Did he even do anything for Willie? I don't know.
I don't know, but I don't know where you're getting that he doesn't care about people. And he's just pretending to care about people.
Well, I'm not saying he doesn't care about anybody, but I just think he's kind of two-faced.
I don't agree. I don't think this character's two-faced. I think that... So, this is what I think. I think that... And maybe this is true of Bill Clinton, maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't know Bill Clinton personally. I think the way the character is portrayed is that he truly cares about people and truly wants to do what is best for people. But in the end is a flawed character, like all of us are. Has many flaws. And I think, I don't know if the movie is saying this is the biggest flaw of all or not, but I think that this character, what's the best way to put this? Believes his rhetoric. Believes what he's saying, wants to change America, wants to be, but he's not willing to make honest arguments. He doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Where he will play the game.
Right.
The dirty, underhanded, gross political game because he thinks that the ends justify the means. He thinks if he wins, then he will do good, whereas others won't. So he's willing to get as dirty. The ends justify the means, I think, is the best. And I don't know if the movie's considering that the greatest flaw of all. It's the one that leads to the most dramatic thing, the suicide.
Yeah, I guess that's true, because he finally goes after his political opponent when at first he doesn't want to be dirty. But, I don't know, I mean, okay, he cares about people, sure. I think he cares about people in maybe broad strokes, on a macro level, but I think his individual close relationships are pretty one-sided and selfish.
I think that's 100% correct. So I 100% agree with that.
Thank you. I mean, when he said, what is this guy's name? This is driving me crazy. The main character.
Henry?
Yeah.
Henry Burton?
He sends Henry
to go deal with the father of the pregnant teenager when he 100% didn't want to have to do that, puts him in a situation that makes him literally throw up. I mean, like, he doesn't think about what he's asking him to do. Mm-hmm. He just wants him to do for him.
Yeah, agreed. And I think he is a user in that way. I think the people who don't know him well, the people who he just meets on the road or at political rallies, feel more fondness, maybe, and closeness to him than his inner circle.
Right.
Because, like you said, I think that's totally correct. He cares about people as a whole. He cares about the American people as a monolith.
Yeah.
And the people close to him, maybe he cares about in a certain way, but like, and I think it's indicative. It's a very good point that you make. I think it's indicative of his Uncle Jack, right? At the beginning of the movie, he tells a story about his Uncle Jack being a war hero and like destroying Japanese soldiers and all this stuff and everything. And then he had all these offers for college, for big business and factory work and all this stuff. And he turned it all down and fucking laid on the couch and did nothing because he was ashamed that he couldn't read. That he was courageous enough to fight and get the Medal of Honor and all this stuff, but he was too chicken to do what everyone in this adult reading program was doing, which was admitting that they... And it's a great story. And then Henry is pulled into the campaign, and everything, and right after this, the next scene after this, they introduce him to Charlie, and he's like, "Oh, are you Uncle Charlie, the war hero?" And he's like, "Yeah, whatever he said." It's one of those things where it's like he knows he's just being used as a prop. Whatever he says about me, and it's all bullshit. Mm-hmm. And so I think it sums up both of our points really, where he's willing to tell that lie. And here's the thing: it's not a terrible lie. It's a lie that makes those people feel good and better and valued and seen by him.
True.
By someone important. But it's a lie using this person close to him who doesn't embody any of that at all. Who probably can read.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like he is using those close to him to benefit those not close to him. Mm-hmm. So I think it goes to show both of the things that we're trying to say. And I think and maybe that's the dichotomy of Bill Clinton. Again, I don't know Bill Clinton. Whoever wrote Primary Colors knows Bill Clinton.
The anonymous person.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean I don't know if this is really what he's like or if this is a caricature of what he's like. I have no idea. But that would be and that's it, and that's what I find so interesting about this movie is that characteristic, those human flaws make this character interesting and make everything that happens around him interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, interesting. Just too much of it.
But see, I could watch this stuff for a long time. I think longer than you.
You seem really enamored with his character too. Like, I mean, I know you're acknowledging the faults and stuff, but I feel like I think you're just so into politics that like the whole thing's just seducing to you.
The idea of so I'm an idealist in a lot of ways. When it comes to things, kind of like the Burton character, the George Stephanopoulos character, where I like the idea of someone who actually cares. Because, I mean, what he does in his personal life or how he is with his family, this might sound cruel or cold, doesn't really concern me.
Right, true.
What concerns me is what he's going to do for me and, by extension, us, the American people. So the idea of someone that is idealistic like that and really wants to actually change the world is interesting to me. And, it's one of those aspirational things. And I don't think we get politicians like that often.
Yeah, that's true.
Kennedy was one. And like I said, love him or hate him, I think Bill Clinton was one.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I guess maybe just these super passionate, charismatic people in power just tend to have a lot of lovers.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is all the characteristics that make you a very good politician, a very charismatic and politician makes you very good with the opposite sex or the same sex, depending on what your sexual orientation is. But it makes you good as, I wouldn't say as a lover, because who knows? I mean, but it makes you good as someone that's going to attract other people.
What do you think about the relationship between him and his wife?
Well, I mean, so I've always felt bad for Hillary Clinton because of the way the media, and like I said, this is to me, this is divorced of politics, whether you agree with her politics or not, or his or whatever. But the way the media has gone after her appearance and things like that, I think it's unfair how the media focuses on women and what their wardrobe is and what their hairstyle is and what makeup and jewelry. That seems unfair to me when men don't have to go through that same kind of thing. But also, because of his myriad affairs, having to, she has to be pissed. Like, this has to affect her on a deep emotional level. This betrayal and all this shit, and to have to sit there on 60 Minutes or the Today Show or Good Morning America or whatever, and hold his hand and put on the public face, like Kathy Bates's character says, it's never the cheaters that go to the hell; it's the ones they cheat on.
Right. And
she's like, that's why you can sound all shucks and I'm just a good old boy kind of thing. And she sounds like, she's got that harpy voice from hell. And it's like, yeah, because of what he's put her through.
Right.
Like, she's bearing all the burden of that. And so I've always felt bad for her. And, I mean, I don't know. Their real life relationship, I have no idea.
Well, no. I mean, but in this movie, I can't tell if we're supposed to feel like they really love each other and they just have a problem, or if I don't know why. I don't see what's in it for her, honestly. Like, Hillary Clinton, I get, because she has her own stuff.
She has her own political aspirations, probably. Yeah.
But I didn't really see any of that in this movie.
No, not overtly. I think there are a few subtle things because of how she plays the game too. She, like, how cannily she plays it. But I get more of the feeling, there's one part where he kind of dances with her or whatever at the very beginning of the movie, and he gropes her and stuff like that. And I guess that's supposed to be like, oh, we're so romantic or whatever. Although that didn't seem, it felt skeezier than anything else. But I feel more like, and this is what a lot of people say about them in real life, I feel more like this is a partnership, almost like a business partnership.
But she had an awful lot of emotion in this movie, and it felt like more emotion than I can imagine Hillary Clinton actually expressing.
Well, I think the thing is it's, and this it may very well be that this is what she's like in private, or what she was like in private. I think that maybe now she's more calloused to it, and I don't know. And will they stay married? I don't know. But, like, I think she's, like, once he's out of office in 2000, because, he's won all the elections he's going to win now, as far as presidential elections. I doubt he'll run for anything else. Almost no presidents do. Once they're out, maybe she divorces him. I don't know. But like I said, it seems like she's pretty callous to it now. but maybe at the beginning, especially when he first started running and all this stuff came out, because that's what happens. People run for president or on a big national scale. Even running for governor in a small state like Arkansas, it's like there's not a ton of press. And they don't put a lot into, let's see what we can dig up, because it's just, they don't have as many people. It's just not worth it. It's not. But when you're running nationally and the big New York press is following you, everybody's following you, they'll dig up everything.
Right.
So maybe when this first started happening with Jennifer Flowers and all the other stuff, when he first started running, maybe this was just embarrassing and angering, and she reacted like this, and now obviously she couldn't in public, but now she's just, callous to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would only be speculating because I really don't know these people.
We'll never know.
Yeah, that's something. Even if they write a memoir or something like that, which a lot of them do, a lot of presidents, and I think a couple first ladies maybe have written memoirs, but former presidents do a lot. But even if they wrote something like that, I mean, you're probably still never going to really know,
right?
Because a presidential memoir, especially in this day and age, is going to be something carefully cultivated.
For sure.
Like, even if it's written by Bill Clinton or whatever, there's going to be ghostwriters. There's going to be people that are like, we need to shape the story this way, yeah. It'll be almost impossible to ever really know. But I would recommend the movie. I thought it was very good. Like I said, I liked everything about it except for the one complaint that I have about Roman A. Clefs is that it's sometimes distracting to try to figure out who is who and what situation is what, and like you said, what's true and what's not.
So I'm not sure. I'm kind of on the fence. I think maybe it's more of a renter, because then at least you can pause it and go to the bathroom and get a snack instead of having to sit there for 2.5 goddamn hours.
But then you don't get to see him talking about the amniocentesis on the big screen. No, this is not a movie you need to see in the theater,
right.
For sure.
For sure. So
it's so weird because he at the beginning he clearly fucked that librarian chick. But I mean that's never really brought up. He had sex with the hairdresser. It's supposed to be Jennifer Flowers, who actually worked on his staff. No pun intended. But every time I saw him around a woman or with a woman, like with the daughter, like the daughter came out and stuff like that, I don't know if I was just thinking this way because, we all know about how Bill Clinton is in real life and we know that's who he's supposed to be, or if John Travolta was doing something very subtle that I wasn't fully picking up on, but subconsciously picking up on. But like when that daughter walked by, nothing happened between the two of them. Like, they didn't touch or anything like that. When she walked by, I thought to myself, is he having sex with her?
Huh.
Like, I really thought that.
Interesting.
And so I feel like that can't just be, like, my paranoia that there was something subtle in Travolta's acting and maybe the young lady's acting, too, that conveyed something that I'd have to rewatch it to study it to really see it, try to pick it up on it.
Well, that one went over my head, but
first thing I thought,
observant,
when she walked by, first thing I thought was like, well, that's too fucking
interesting.
And it's like I didn't think it was some of the staffers, so I think there must have been something they did in their acting choices that I didn't fully get, but it implanted there.
Well, when you all watch it, keep an eye out for it.
Exactly. Well, that is our show for the week, Carol. I don't know, tell people stuff.
So you can write us at latefee1994AOL.com. Check out our website at www.retrolatefee.com.
Yes.
And share the tapes with your friends.
All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.